Peace. What's going on, everybody? This your girl Cosmic Paradox, or as some of you may know me as Queen Raw, and I'm back with another bill for y'all. Thought it was only right that we address something that's really getting a lot of public attention. A lot of media is talking about it. None other than Mr. Deion Sanders, Mr. Prime Time. I will say, that this really don't have nothing to do about football. Everything I'm about to say. Not really particularly a fan of the sport, but this is very impacting culturally, shall we say. And it's also showing you some truths that we pretty much should all know that's there, but we're going to talk about them because, things like this tends to bring those things to the surface. So why all the Deion Sanders hate? Don't get me wrong. He's getting a lot of love. A lot of love. A lot of people showing a lot of love to Deion Sanders. But he's getting a lot of hate too. A lot of animosity as well. So we gotta ask ourselves, where is this all coming from? Is this rooted in something else? Does this have something to do with normal societal program views that we have of particular people within society? We're gonna talk about it. So let's get into it. Now, I'm not really one to make things very specifically about the celebrity or the figure at hand. But what I do like to do is to look at energy. And so that's what I'm going to do while we talking about this whole Deion Sanders thing. Because I think it's very important that we understand how energy works and how it affects our lives so that we can know how to perform alchemy in our own lives and how to transmute, and how to take our lemons and make lemonade, so to speak. And so I did some digging a little bit into Mr. Deion Sanders, like for instance, I took a look into his birthday. Now, so Deion Sanders is a Leo. It's August, I want to say maybe August the 8th or something like that. But anyway, he's a Leo, but he's a 404 Leo. Now, I thought that was very important. And it's something that we really need to kind of talk about a little bit further so that we can understand energy a little bit deeper. And so we can know how to utilize this knowledge in our life. Right? So if we're looking at Deion Sanders, he's a 404. So his main underlying energy is a 4. Now, this was very explanatory for a lot of things that we've seen Deion Sanders go through. Very particularly, it explained a lot of the issues that he got with his feet and dealing with the issues with his legs. Because when you're looking at a 4 is a number all about stability. So 4 has a lot to do with your stable joints and the legs, the knees, the ankles, the feet, pretty much, so to speak. So what we got to understand when we're looking at things like numerology, astrology, human design, whatever the case may be, what you have to understand about these spiritual systems is your spiritual systems are supposed to be a means of healing for you. So when you can understand from a perspective of one of these systems to interpret energy so that you can have an energetic approach, then they can give you a lot more insight into how to make a lot of different improvements in your life, health included. So when you're looking at something like in numerology, if you're looking at your life path, which specifically deals with your obstacles, the things you have to overcome, possible hidden talents that you are working your way to. When you are looking at those particular things, it can also provide you information and insight into the body, into your health, into the way your body is wired, health-wise. And what we can understand in looking at things like the life path, or if you're in astrology and you're looking at aspects like squares, these particular things can tell us or can maybe give us clues or hints into where energy can get stuck in our bodies. So somebody with heavy 4 energy, that any type of particular stuck energy can get stuck in those particular areas, in the feet, in the legs, in the knees, in the hips, things like that. So it's important to understand how your spiritual system is supposed to align with your health and wellness. All right. So looking at Deion Sanders, when you looking at this 404 energy, all of it really makes sense. This is why the man want to work with kids and why he don't want to really go deal with the professionals in the NFL, and he'll more rather deal with college, because 4 is foundation, 4 is elemental, 4 is repetition. What you do consistently is process. It's process. So he is great at building foundational practices that's going to get you, particularly in this case, can get people to the best version of themselves on the football field. But what you got to understand about sports and the lessons that you learn in sports transcend just the sport itself. They apply throughout life. Because like I said, we're not going to make this about the sport. We're not going to make this about the league. We just going to look at it for what it is and not get caught up in all of the extra stuff. Because we know that already. We know the oppression, the systemic things in looking at these particular sports leagues and the way that they do treat these athletes. Now that's an important aspect to understand, because it also plays a role in here in what we're talking about, because it's okay for the athlete, very particularly the so-called black athlete, to dominate on the field or on the court, but you can't transition that sport itself outside of the athlete. Because the minute you do that, you're going against the program. Now you're going against the paradigm. There's not too many black college coaches in football. Hell, it ain't too many in the NFL anyway as it is. You have very, very few. Hell, you don't have any at all when you want to talk about ownership. So what the real thing is, what you got to understand in the lesson in somebody like a Deion Sanders is, you got to tone that shit down. That's the message. That's always the point in it. Because you got to look at it like this, and you got to understand that nothing is feared more in our society than a confident black man. Now, if you notice, they always demonize, always turning the public and the narrative against these types. I'm not saying people is perfect now and people don't do no wrong, but it's clearly and painfully obvious that you are not allowed to really think for yourself or to think outside of the box that you've been placed into. Because the minute that you do that, you are rebelling the structure. You're rebelling the status quo. You're going outside of the system. And the more that happens, the more the system breaks down, because you are defying the odds. You are going against the status quo. So, because whether we want to admit it or not, right? Whether we want to admit it or not, self-hate is programmed into so-called black and brown people in society, in the whole world. I'm not even going to just say in the Western world. It's all over the whole world. It's everywhere in the world. The darker you are, the deeper that programming is going to be, because we are programmed to hate what it is that we are, because our blackness is always weaponized for things beyond our understanding, because we don't really want to do our due diligence to really figure out why that is. But that's a conversation for another time. But you got to understand, see, I'm 36. I remember Deion Sanders when he was in the league. You understand this? The Deion Sanders that you got to understand, this man has always been confident in his abilities. He's always been Mr. Prime Time. And if you really look at all throughout his career, as high as he has soared, he's went through a lot of things in his personal life that has made him fall very far. And he doesn't overdo it with his confidence either. He's not even really, he don't even really push that much. it's a very, very agreeable, confident type of energy because he don't bring nothing to the table to really shake things up. He only really shaking up college football. It's only about college football, but when you understand that mentality or mindset, how much that has to do with the world that you create, and you put somebody like him in that position to provide certain inspiration and certain particular vision and certain beliefs in certain particular types of kids in these colleges, it's going to be life changing for them at the end of the day. Hey, him being what he's being is they saying it everywhere. Hey, Deion Sanders is changing college football. Even look at this, the whole every week it's a different level. It's some form of drama. It's some sort of conflict. There's something that they gotta overcome every week. You see, he utilizes these things. He takes these things and turns it into fuel for his players. He's teaching these boys how to be alchemists, how to take these tough situations, understand, hey, this is just a testament you built for this. Because as a 404, a person with a 404 is a builder. Or you talking about building strong foundations. So this man can help to build strong foundations in the mindset in a lot of these young men. That is going to be vital to them beyond just being on the football field. Because the mass majority of these players is not going to make it to the league. So these things that they learn, this experience that they have is going to stay with them all of their life. Even in terms of the whole sunglasses diss from the other coach from Colorado State. All it did was made his sunglasses sales go up. That's all it did. The man made over $1 million in one day in sales. Over $1 million in sales. This is an example of when you take negative and you make it into something positive. You make it into something else. Now, when you're looking at a zero, it's always dealing with a very hidden spiritual special gift. So zeros can be empaths. They can have excessive strength. That strength could be exhibited physically. It could be represented in having lasting endurance. These could be people that endure or go through a lot of tough situations that a lot of people might not be able to navigate through. They may be hypersensitive. So when he talks to these players and he says exactly what they know, exactly what these players need to hear, because he has that special gift, that or compassionate gift. It's an inner gift. It's represented in the zero. And then the thing about it, when you look at his sons exhibit the same energy. Both his sons, Shadur and Shiloh, are fours. They're 1, 3, 4, but they're fours. So that whole concept of process, understanding the process, working through things, not giving up on it, seeing something through, having extreme patience. Listen to the stuff that people say about him. It's exactly the same as if you were to look into understanding the energy. So when you look at his sons and you see how much his sons have that similarity to him, that's why they got the same, very similar energy. They got that main energy of that 4. Granted, they're both 1, 3. So when we looking at 1, you're looking at excessive creativity, but that confidence has to be instilled in them, which a lot of times stems back to the father. So considering the fact of how active and how present he is in them boys' lives, that's the basis and the foundation of their confidence. That's the basis of their confidence. So when Shadur say we've been here before, he been here before. That's repetition. That's knowing just off muscle memory. He probably will be a very cool and collected quarterback, even on the professional level, because that's the energy that's at play. Now, like I say, it do means, hey, you gotta watch for them knees, them ankles, them legs, them feet, because that's where the energy gets stuck at in their body. Because 4 is all about process, seeing the process through. having patience, having discipline. Y'all hear Deion Sanders talk about all this stuff. This is why he's lived that experience. He just sharing from within himself. That's why he connects to so many people, because he just being himself off his own experience. But see, the thing is, you gotta understand why the hate, why the animosity, because that is an example. That is an example of exemplified energy in a so-called black man in America, because that is the most threatening figure in the whole world, whether they want to tell you that or not. Confident black men is very, very threatening to the system. So by any means do you have to tear down that confidence. By any means do you have to dim that light. That's why they had him out here apologizing for something he didn't even do. Gotta apologize for how other people want to respond to something that you ain't even do. They had Deion out there apologizing for, what was going on with the Colorado State, the kid who hit Travis Hunter, who, a lot of people say was a dirty hit or late hit, So the consequences to that was, because people back this movement or what this represents so much, hey, it brings that chaos. It brings that type of energy. It brings that type of passion out. Sports alone gonna do that anyway. So you put something that people can be behind that's deeper than that. So of course, he had to come out and say something, right? Because you got to tone that light down a little bit. Come on, bring it back down some. That's how it works. I mean, look at all the support that's pouring in. You got a lot of everyday regular people who want to support Prime. Coach Prime. Listen to that Coach Prime. Got a lot of celebrities, a lot of sports figures, a lot of people behind what he's doing. That says a lot. When that many image that have that much support, that's because he's put in the work. That's therefore he has put in that work, that foundation. And a lot of people, may feel like, oh, he's doing stuff over the top. But, I don't know how old people is, but, that's always been Mr. Deion Sanders. That's always been him. And if you don't know, he had a reality show maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago. So, the kids they've been prepared for that spotlight. That's in their foundation. They scary to white America. Let's keep it all the way a book. That's scary. I'm gonna show you just how scary it is. Check this out. There was this is how you know right here. This is how you know. So you look at this.
For other reasons that many blacks instinctively feel, which is the constant rejection or limitation systematically placed on them on not wanting them to succeed beyond their white counterparts. In a new episode of Tariq Nasheed's radio talk show, Tariq would welcome a young white football fan on his show to share his true feelings about seeing Deion's success as a black man.
Yes, I want Deion to market everything he can and make every dime he can.
I mean, it's not just that; it's just the whole thing. It's all about. It really is. No other program.
I swear, y'all hate to see a competent black person who ain't bowing down, who's winning. Why do y'all hate that so much?
Because it makes us insecure that we can't do it the same way he can.
Thank you. But that's a you problem. At least say, I'm glad you're being honest. But that's a you problem.
I know, but when we see a black man shining, it just like tears us down because that's like all we have left is the coaches.
I know that, but y'all it's a you problem. There's great things that you can do within your community. There's great things, man. You guys.
That's out of the horse's mouth. That's out of the horse's mouth. And shouts out to, I got this video from Comedy Hype. This clip was on the Comedy Hype YouTube channel, and they shared this clip of of this guy calling in and basically just being honest about what he feels. Because, very seldom will you get that type of transparency, that type of honesty. Because we suspected this for a long time. We say this all the time, hey, it's only a matter of time before we'll be on the sidelines too. And we'll be in the owner's boxes too. And that's all that's there right now. To be above so-called black people, bro. It's about that level, that insecurity. that insecurity that, hey, we're gonna be able to do it better. It's like you said, that we can't do it the way that you can. And look, who can compete? Who can really compete with this, man? Who can compete with this? This is why these coaches are saying all these things about him. This is why there's all this hate. This is why there's all this animosity. It's why they're taking all these little cheap shots. Why they saying, because who's not gonna want to go to his program? It's only a matter of time before he has one of the top college football programs in the country. All because he's doing this. He has some very good skilled players in some good positions, but it's not a program that's been like really built up to be a college football powerhouse program like what I'm saying, your Ohio, like it's not built up that way. But there's only a matter of time before it's gonna be like that, especially considering they got the transfer portal. There's so many people that's gonna want to go play for this man. You understand? Like, if my child did play, I would ideally want him to have a coach like that who can relate to him, who understand where he come from, who know what he need to hear, who knows how to motivate him, who not just see him as just some football player. That's what you want. It's honestly and quite frankly, it's common fucking sense. So yeah, every last one of these coaches in college football is hating like crazy on Deion. They are going to, because I mean, hey, how can you not be mad? How can you compete with that? Is the real question. How can you compete with that? Now they have Oregon coming up. It's gonna be a tough game for them. I don't know if they're gonna make it to. I hope they do. I hope they do. But even after that, there's gonna be even harder tests that's gonna come up for them. But regardless of how well they finish, they've already done better than they did over the past I don't know how many years. So technically speaking, the brother's already a success. He's already a success. So there's always gonna be people that's gonna have things to say about this or that. Now, there's still gonna be some people of our own that's gonna be mad about the whole HBCU Jackson State situation. But I tell you what, you wouldn't be having a conversation if the man never went there. You have to look at it from all sides and not just the side you want to see. Because at the end of the day, y'all know they couldn't afford to pay the man what he was valued to be paid. He took pay cuts. He did a lot of things to get improvements provided to their program and to their school. But if anything, it should really show us just how limited our resources are, and why we have to invest more in our HBCUs, because we don't even have the means to sustain a figure like a Deion Sanders to maintain a program to that level. Now granted, I don't want nobody to come saying that I'm saying it's better going to a PWI over HBCU. Absolutely not saying it. But everybody's situation is different. And if you're really looking at a football program, if that's a person out, if that's the way a person has to go, if that's their means of paying for college for them, then you got to do what's best for you. It just is what it is. That's the world we live in. That's why balance is fundamental. Balance is key. Because you have to weigh these things. Things go hand in hand. You can't completely abandon your physical self, your physical needs. You can't completely do that. So it's all about what it is that you will be able to look yourself in the mirror for. That's what your conscience. Their conscience is all the judgment and all that you really truly need. That's why I don't go out of my way. I'm not going to ever go out of my way to try to humble nobody, because it ain't my job. It ain't my job to do that. God got that. Why I'm trying to do that for? I ain't got to do that. That's what the universe do. That's going to take care of itself, because everything going to balance out in the end. Why I got to do it for? I don't need to do it. And why am I going to go out of my way to be that in somebody else? Nah. Because all that's going to do is bring back that same judgment to me. That's all that's really gonna do. So, it's just, we know this game. We know this game. We know what this is about. Whenever you go outside of what you are instructed to do, instructed to be, the role you are selected to play, then you got a problem with the system. It don't matter how much good you are bringing. You got to play your role, play your position. That's how this shit work. This is why I keep trying to tell people. But it's really just about making sure you stay in the box. That's what it's all about. Because if the mindset don't change, they don't care. Like, if you come out of a Christian box and go to a Muslim box, nothing changes. Nothing changes. You're not going to change your approach to anything. You just shifting names. It's still surface level. So when you break out of those paradigms, and this is a simple thing. This is just college football, man. This is just college football. But it goes to show you just how powerful you can be from wherever you are. In any ways or any means or capacity that you challenge the system, you're a problem. You're a problem. That's how it goes. Because in you doing that and you being that, you give other people subconsciously the permission or the example to do the same thing. So, just wanted to kind of touch on this a little bit because, this has been a lot of talk. A lot of talk has been around the whole Deion Sanders movement, and so it was only right to kind of speak on it, kind of talk on it. If anybody want to add anything, feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about the whole Deion Sanders thing, if there's anything you want to add to it. But until our next session, to the next video, till next time, peace.